The marriage was never the same after that, was it?
No, it was. This is at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? This is right at the beginning. And so within that process,
She probably should have kept that to herself.
Because of me cheating, this man said he wanted to kill himself.
Kel Mitchell of Kenan and Kel and all that fame was on Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp. This was one of the most heartbreaking and real interviews I've seen on this show. It's just been through so much, and you know, they always say it's the tears of a clown making people laugh. Underneath, he was going through so much turmoil.
You know, within my family in Chicago, and all these things were going on. At this point, both of my uncles was murdered. I had a friend that was murdered that we talked about.
Yep.
All this happened around the same time. And so there wasn't any, no, I wasn't seeing any therapist or anything of that nature. I was just working constantly with working on the show. And within doing that. And then at that time, too, I ended up marrying my ex-wife, you know, because we had another baby. We had the baby, right? We had the abortion, but then we had a baby. And she ended up telling me that the baby that was aborted wasn't mine.
Wow.
And so within that process, you are immediately married within a lie already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So the marriage was never the same after that, was it?
No, it was. This is at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? This is right at the beginning. And so within that process,
She probably should have kept that to herself.
and well, you know, I'm glad she didn't.
Can you imagine you're 19 years old, your wife, who is now pregnant, now confesses to you that the first child that she had gotten an abortion on. So you went through the turmoil of supporting her through an abortion because you think this is your woman, this is your girl. And then she tells you that that child wasn't yours. You understand what that does to a man? That in itself is enough, but you're going to see Kel has been through so much more than that. Yeah, it's a lot. You put that in the realm of entertainment and you just have a ball of confusion. But stay tuned later because I've actually got the ex-wife's explanation of what could have possibly transpired in this relationship to allow all this to happen.
In that process, with that being known, it was just like, yo, and now I'm on TV. Oh, I'm still on TV. All this thing, and I don't have time to really process that. And she almost, you know, with even in being, you know, the pregnancy, she almost died within the pregnancy. So that was a hard time too.
Right.
And I remember some of the writers coming to the set, to the hospital, and they were like bringing presents, and I'm thinking like, oh yeah, cool, thank you. And then they were like, yo, when can you be back on set? And it was just
You see what
Now, you see what actors go through? You're only as good as what you can do for them in the moment. Okay, I know you're going through something in your life. You might be mentally taxed, but when are you going to be able to get back on set? Because we can't do the show without you. And meanwhile, they're not taking care of it. I mean, the Nickelodeon industrial complex is egregious, has been egregious in many ways. I mean, we found out in that documentary, you know, The Dark Side of Nickelodeon, there was so much abuse going on in so many different ways. Financial abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. Like, to put all that on a child's head and shoulders is like, and now he's actually dealing with adult issues at a very young age. And to think, you know, as a kid, you wanted to be on Nickelodeon. I grew up watching Kenan and Kel. You know, they were younger than me, but at the same time, it was like, oh, these guys are actually having the career that I want to have. Just to hear all the stuff that went on behind the scenes.
I'm dealing with?
Yeah, we'll see what I'm dealing with. But, you know, no shout out to, you know, no shade to them. They were doing what they were told as far as a job to see if Kel can be back on set. And I was the one that, you know, ended up getting someone pregnant, you know, around that time. But I'm just setting up so you understand what was really going on when we get to 2004. You know what I mean?
Yes.
In that process. So, and now knowing that this, you know, the kid is mine, and then now leaving the show, you know, on Nickelodeon, and then I had Mystery Man, this big show, and I'm thinking like, oh yeah, that's gonna be it. You know what I mean? And learning within that process too, where it was like, hey, well, no, I don't want to renew on all that Kenan and Kel. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And I already know what's going on as far as what's happening within this realm of what's going on with the show behind the scenes and what's going on with me. And I was just like, yo, I'm ready to leave anyway. And then Mystery Man didn't do as well as we thought it was going to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As we thought it was going to do within that process. And then just navigating through that, now being a father. And here's the thing about it is that the reason I didn't have anybody relate to, because I was the first one out of the entire cast to be married, to have a house, have kids, and Keenan, Nick, none of them could relate to that. They were still being kids. And also, too, there was this process of, I got it all together. I already know what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I was doing. You know what I mean? To me, it was like, I can handle this. I can handle this.
Right.
No.
You couldn't.
No, you can't handle this within the Star Power because you're really going through something that is really deep, and you need to let people know and let people know how you feel and let people know what's on your heart, what's really going on. But I kept it in and was like,
It's like having a nervous breakdown at 19. That's crazy. You know, like, could you imagine? The fact that he was working was probably what kept him going. You know, it kept him moving forward because he thought, at least I'm still making money at this. But to have that type of betrayal, you know, and that type of loss and that type of pressure, you don't understand what it is unless you're actually in that world. And, you know, so many times actors just don't get help because they realize they're on a ride that has an end, you know what I mean, that they will fall off at a certain point. And so you just like, I got to get as much as I can. I think of like Kevin Hart, you know, going so hard as he is right now because he's already lost it, you know. And, you know, when he had his beginning of his career, he was in a star of a movie, you know, Soul Plane. It didn't do the box office that it was supposed to. So his name was pretty much mud, and he had to claw his way back up to the place he got to in the mid 2000s. And to where we see him now. And so that's why you see him moving so fast, you know. It's a similar thing, you know. You put Kenan and Kel back in 94. As far as kid actors go, and black kid actors, they were the top of the top. You know, they were up there. So then trying to see all that go away and trying to hold on to some of your dignity to come back and come back stronger, it's a nightmare, man. There are ways to navigate it.
like, I can handle this. Yeah.
You mentioned a lot of some of the kids, actors and actresses that you're around. Life had gotten so overbearing that they didn't feel they could go on.
Yeah.
You mentioned Amanda Bynes, and you see her in conservatorship, and you see her dealing with her issues. How difficult is that for you, knowing what you went through and seeing her go through something very similar?
It's deep. I mean, when I was at the Sun Hotel in Canada, where I was going to end my life at that moment, on the other side of a balcony, Amanda was there. Amanda was shooting a show, a movie where she played a guy, that movie. And Keenan was in town too as well. We hadn't talked in a while. He was doing Snakes on the Plane. Okay. And no one knew that I was going through with my ex. You know, we had very toxic relationship. You know what I mean? As you can imagine from the start of it all. You know what I mean?
It's hard to reveal something after a lie.
Yeah, bro.
If it was founded on a lie, it's going to fall eventually.
Yeah, exactly. And it went from bad to worse, you know, with the things that were being revealed, you know. And it was a lot, you know. It was other times. She had gotten pregnant, other things, and it just got to a point.
She had gotten pregnant again?
Yeah.
While y'all were together?
Yeah.
And it wasn't you?
Not with me.
Ah, come on, Kel.
It wasn't me. It wasn't.
And you stuck around?
Yeah, I stuck around. But here's the thing.
That is insanity. But, you know, shout out to him for trying to keep his family together. But this is a lot of men's worst nightmare. You got a woman that got pregnant by somebody else on you twice during your marriage. Like, you know what that does to a man? It's ego, but you know what it was? You know, a lot of women that are involved with celebrities, you know, the celebrity is away and working for a very long time. So while the cat is away, the mice will play, I guess is the saying, right? And she's feeling neglected because he's spending all his time to make this money to then give it back to you and the family to support you all. And she's probably started taking him for granted in some ways. But at the same time, like, there's no justification for doing that. Like, because you know, you got to work up to getting pregnant. She didn't get pregnant the first time she just slipped up and cheated on him. This is probably a pattern of cheating and disrespect. You know, when you have a woman that is openly disrespecting you in that way, and like I said, you being in the public eye, you not being able to be controversial or you don't want any type of scandal, that can just eat at you. That can just, I mean, because what is he going to do? Is he going to go upside her head? What is he going to do? He's going to be in the news for that, and he's going to get fired, and he's going to lose everything he had. I mean, like, there's nothing there. But the fact is, like, he needed to get away from this woman, like, immediately. After you found out that first thing, like, I know y'all have a child together, but you should have ended it right there. He goes on to have more children. Of course, I'm sure, you know, he loves his children. They're a blessing. But can you imagine? Jesus.
These were things that were being revealed. You know,
She telling you this.
No.
How did you find this out? I want to know how you found this out. You read a letter. You got to it through the phone.
I want to know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So how that one went? There was a thing where we weren't having sex anymore, and we weren't doing anything anymore. Just because
you weren't having sex. Clearly, she was.
Yeah. It's just because of I knew what was going on.
Right.
And I was like, yo, what is even happening? You're not coming home. You're not doing all these different things.
And y'all man, she not coming home. Y'all man.
Yeah. But then this was, you know, back then.
Yeah.
We praying for her now. It's all good.
Yeah.
But this is what the process of what I was going through.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so now as this is going on, there was a time, get some more soda.
Now I need something stronger than soda, KEL. You telling me that right here.
Go ahead, brother.
I mean, you had one,
Yeah.
you aborted that, but that wasn't yours. She told you, you didn't know.
Yeah.
You had one of your own, and
Yeah. Well, yeah. There was a situation where there was a guy, you know, and I had a feeling, you know what I mean, that she was
Did you know him?
talking to somebody. It was one of her friends that used to come over, right? And, you know, I was working a lot.
Always them friends. Y'all gotta be aware. Them friends, them male friends that she just got hanging around. Yeah. Sleep on it if you want to. That'd be the one. And they were just disrespectful with it. Just getting pregnant. They just doing all the time. What is this? You know, this is one of the craziest interviews I've heard in a while. And it's done from such a calm place. That's what I'm saying. Like, give it up for KEL. KEL is very accomplished. He's very multi-talented. He's been so talented his whole life. But let me explain why this is groundbreaking. This is engaging. I almost feel like I can't watch this because it's going into his private thoughts, but you could see KEL being his most honest. This is what should have happened in Amanda Seales' interview, by the way.
You know what I mean? So it was one of those situations. And so I was dropping off the kids, you know, and, you know, didn't go to work, and you know how I go. And so one day I decided where I was like, yeah, I'm going to take the car and just kind of like go searching where she might be, because she ain't come home. And so I got in the whip, went driving around, saw her whip, looked different, you know, and I saw it, and I said at the hotel, I was like, yo, okay, this is a car at the hotel. I go to the lobby. You know what I mean? To go walk into the lobby. Turns out dude just come walking down the lobby about to go to the car. You know, my car. And then she was driving, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, okay, what's up? Take me upstairs. Take me, let's go to the elevator, let's go together. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean? We go up, we don't need to fight, let's go.
Yeah.
Because I already know what it is.
Right.
So we go up.
And that's
of course, she's
important.
surprised. Oh.
That's important. There's no need to fight him at that point. You need to just go ahead and handle your situation with your wife. You've been through it enough with her. You know what's happening. Like, swinging on a dude ain't gonna get you nothing. You know what I mean? Like, and I think a lot of dudes make that mistake. They wanna, you know, fire off on the dude. And I'm like, you got your own situation with your wife where you're just being disrespected. And that's the most important and pressing thing right now. You need to handle that before you fighting with somebody else. And it sounded like, dude was like, yeah, I know I was wrong, but yeah, you got something to deal with.
Within the room. And, we walk in, I walk in there and I'm just like, hey, okay, so this is what's going on. Okay, cool. You know what I mean? All right, and this is what you're doing.
Red-handed.
Okay, so, and I walk out because I'm not about to fight over someone that.
She already made a decision.
Yeah, you made your decision. You already we'd have been through it.
Did she come out and let me explain?
Yeah.
What did that explain? Offer without explanation.
Explain. I'll go to the car. After I went to the car, then there was this. I was like, yo, I need to go back. And I went back because now I was like, well, I felt disrespected, so now I need to go do something. I'm going back, so then I'm going back up there. Cops came, everybody came up at that point. And I remember this cop told me, he said, hey, yo.
Hey, she's lucky. A lot of dudes would have did a lot more. They wouldn't be telling this story. They'd be telling the story from behind bars. I'm just going to say the restraint. She was, but it's still the 7 levels of disrespect. And he blew through all of them. She's disrespecting him. So it's not going to get better. It's just going to get worse. And eventually it could end up to her getting you set up to get killed or robbed or both.
I seen this type of woman, this situation. You need to get out of this situation. You know what I mean? You need to get out of this situation. Like a goofy, still stayed around. You know what I mean? He said we was trying to make it work for the kids. You know what I mean? Trying to make it work for the kids. But it just wasn't working out. You know what I mean? Trying to make it work. And she ended up getting pregnant by another guy. Now, how that situation happened was that I was at the hospital. She had a sickle cell trait. So she ended up, I'm thinking it's that. We go in there and the doctor comes in and says, yeah, so you lost the baby. And I was just like, hey, yo, what? You lost the
He ain't even having sex with her, but she's pregnant again. It's crazy. Disrespectful. This is how it goes, y'all. You need to be aware that this can happen, that this is a possibility.
Baby, and I'm like, oh, I know that's not mine. And so I lost the baby, and I'm like, okay, so she was pregnant at that time. And this was just like, what was going on? You know what I mean? Within the relationship.
That was rough,
But then it's also doing movies, doing TV shows, doing all these things as this is going on, not really telling anybody anything.
Right.
I wasn't telling my parents, telling my family what was going on.
Right.
So now all these situations are happening. And I get to the point where I'm at, 2004 up there. And the thing about it is that I would drink, to get out of some, emotional, all of this mind, because it was just kind of like,
yeah, of course,
making people laugh and doing all these things. But then also this is going on too as well. You know what I mean? And so I got to the point where I'm about to do this. And the reason I did that was because I went to Canada to do this movie, and the relationship was just toxic at that point. So now I'm here and I get a phone call, and she's this guy, that she wants to be with. And I was just like, okay, yeah, y'all need to be together. You know what I mean? Like, let's do this. But then I'm also dealing with the embarrassment of all of this situation. What's going on? I don't want people to know what I'm going through, all this situation. And I just felt like at that point.
Guys, this interview is too deep. You got to go check out the Club Shay Shay interview with KEL Mitchell. This is crazy to find out exactly what's going on. But I want to get into, because, we getting KEL's side of the story, but there's always 3 sides to every story, right? After this interview dropped, immediately, the ex-wife came out with a little response, and I want to play what she had to say. What could she possibly say that could justify this? I have no idea, but it sounds like she tried to come up with something, so I'm going to go through that.
I think, you get married, you just stay married for the rest of your life. So I figured that I had to accept KEL for who he was, because he was my husband. But along the way, I realized that there were just some things that I could not accept. And once I stopped accepting those things that he wanted me to accept, that's when the man got completely psycho and crazy, and
of course, now he's psycho.
This really
crazy.
began the narcissistic nightmare that I'm still like, I hope people are realizing that this is why this is still trauma, right? Because still, so many years ago, this man is lying about abortions. I mean, just the fact that you're even lying about abortions is crazy. That's like really crazy work. But then also to state that,
You know, that's interesting. She could say he's lying. She could say he's lying here, and there's really no proof of it unless there's some doctor's records that can be pulled up from 2002 or 2001 or whenever this was. Like, that's the odd thing about this. Now, if she's really sick, she could just sit here and bald-faced lie. But what reason does KEL have to bring that up? Like, why would he just make that up? Seems odd.
because of these fake abortions or because of cheating, because of me cheating, this man said he wanted to kill himself.
It happens.
I mean, just think about how narcissistic that sounds, right? Another thing is, and I want to clarify this very much. In the interview, KEL is acting like, we did not want our son and it was a secret. It was not a secret. It was never a secret. We wanted our son. He's the one who wanted me to get pregnant with the son. We told everybody. Both of our parents knew as soon as we found out that we were pregnant. And so there was no sneaking around. It was not a shock. Every single person knew, and he made it a point to make everybody know. So like, that's even crazy to me, because when this was happening, as soon as I found out that I was pregnant, he was so excited, and his parents, everyone was so excited, and we were all excited. So this is so...
But there's a difference between telling the immediate family and telling the public if you happen to be a celebrity.
Strange to me, this version of events that he somehow now has. Anyway, so his KEL's math is...
Wardrobe change.
So his KEL's math isn't mathing. He is not talking about me. I am not the one that is pregnant. It's not even physically possible. The very first time that I had sex, I was impregnated with my son, who is here, and he's alive and well, and there could not have been an abortion in between any of that, because obviously that's not how it works, right? So if
I had to guess anything, this is my amateur body language. She's doing a lot of looking up and to the left and recalling. Anybody out there in the chat knows what that means by watching these body language experts. She's recalling something, let's just say. Okay, so there we have it. She's denying all of the abortions. KEL has listed 3. Like I said, he's been under a lot of stress for a long period of time, a lot of stuff that's going on. So it's possible that he could have had a mental break, but it seems like from the sounds of this interview, he is dealing with some of his trauma. He's dealing with it through his religion and mending fences with, Keenan. Like I said, very talented brother, but we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. She's denying everything. She's saying it, chalking it all up to being a narcissist, which seems very dismissive in a lot of ways. No, she's actually going through a lot with her. He mentions that she has sickle cell anemia, and so that's something that she's dealing with. But the whole thing is a mess, man. And like we said, there's 3 sides to every story: his side, her side, and the truth. For the sake of the children, because now all this information is out here in the public, and your mother's being viewed a certain way and everything. But very good interview. It brings up a certain point of navigating this world of entertainment. I'm somebody who's been there, been in the business for quite a while. I give a lot of advice to people, a lot of people that have been on television and films that you love. I want to bring that information to you to help you in your business. Doesn't have to necessarily even be an entertainment business, but I'm starting to open up the consultations, and eventually I'm going to have a course navigating the entertainment industry. and being a 21st century artist. Go ahead, hit the link in the description, add yourself to my newsletter so that I can keep you up to date on that when it launches. But it's coming soon, y'all. Yeah, KEL Mitchell, if you got an issue, hit that link. Let me know. We could talk. We could talk about the next phase of your career, because it seems like you got some momentum here and you got some momentum from the Shannon Sharp interview. Let's talk about it. Anyway, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all uploads. If you want to watch more, please watch one of these videos down below. This is Faucette Media.